What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today's Takes with Alex. I'm your host, Alex. We had a little hiatus due to observing the holiday of Shavuos. It was a good one. Thanks for asking. Powerful. A couple breakthroughs, breakaways, breaks in the old. And that's really what the holiday was about. The holiday was about the giving of the Torah. It was a new era in the world, a break of the old, and a new light was given to man. And that's what we were celebrating. The Torah teaches us how to live a life that is aligned with the spiritual reality of the world. And it just so happens that, it's also the moral and ethical guide. And those things are aligned. Morals, ethics, spirituality, growth, all these things are one and the same. So when we talk about growth, when we talk about positive expansion, we have to start with the mental, right? We do it because the spiritual life force that we are and that is given to us day in and day out. So we got the spiritual, next is the mental, okay, then we got the emotional, and then the physical. So the mental algorithm for breaking out of the old and starting the new, that new light, starts with humility, right? And that does invoke certainly a mental framework, but also an emotional, right? And then ultimately the physical, how we act. Do we choose to be subservient to the spiritual nature of the world, or do we choose to stay stuck in the false notion that we are in control, right? No matter what we do, we are not in control. No matter how much muscle you have, how much how much money you have, how much anything you have, it all it's all, as Solomon said, it's all hevel, it's all vanity. The ultimate thing is spiritual alignment. That's the thing that moves us forward in the world, and that's what allows us to earn our share in the world to come. So, the title of this video is The Gateway of Humility: Why Lowering Yourself Opens the Door to True Growth. In a world that celebrates self-promotion, confidence, and standing tall, the idea of humbling ourselves can feel counterintuitive, even weak. Yet the deepest spiritual growth rarely happens in a heart that is full of itself. True growth requires space, and space is created through humility. Today we explore the spiritual significance of humbling yourself in order to grow. This teaching is universal for every person who longs to become better, wiser, kinder, and more aligned with their highest purpose. Rooted in the eternal wisdom of the Torah and illuminated by the profound insights of Hasidic masters, we will discover that humility is not self-debasement, right? It's not I stink, I'm horrible, I'm this, I'm that, whipping ourselves, but the sacred doorway through which divine light and personal transformation can enter. The Torah consistently highlights humility as the foundation for greatness. Moses, the greatest prophet who ever lived, is described with these simple words: Moses was the most humble man on the face of the earth. Despite performing miracles and speaking face to face with God, He never lost his sense of smallness before the infinite. King David, the mighty warrior and beloved king, constantly humbled himself in the book of Psalms. Even after achieving power, he wrote, "I am a worm and not a man," and danced with abandon before the ark, not caring what others thought. His humility, his giving over of himself, allowed him to grow through every fall and rise to new spiritual heights. Abraham, our father, referred to himself as dust and ashes, even while standing in intimate conversation with God. These towering figures understood a deep truth. The more we empty ourselves of arrogance and self-importance, the more room we create for divine wisdom, growth, and blessing to flow in. The Torah teaches that God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble. Humility is not the opposite of strength. It is the soil in which true spiritual growth takes root. Without it, even great talent and potential remain stunted. Hasidic teachings take this even deeper. The Baal Shem Tov taught that true humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less, recognizing that every breath, every talent, and every opportunity is a gift from above. And really, that's what it is. It's less about you in the whole. It's more of the whole, like the group, the congregation, the klal, right? And what your part is in that, as opposed to you and your relationship to the klal. The Tanya explains that the soul has two parts: the divine soul and the animal soul. The animal soul is naturally seeks self-importance and ego inflation. The work of spiritual growth requires bittul, a self-nullification, the willing humbling of ourselves so that the divine soul can lead. Again, it's not about you. It's not about you against them, or it really, the perspective needs to change into more of a team, a group mindset, and what your role is to better the group and to help the group progress. Chassidus reveals a beautiful paradox. The lower we willingly go in humility, the higher we can rise. This connects directly to Yerida L'Tzorech Aliyah, descent for the sake of ascent, what we spoke about in a recent video. When we humble ourselves, we descend from the illusion of self-sufficiency and create space for God to lift us to levels we could never reach through pride or self-reliance alone. The Masters taught that humility allows us to elevate holy sparks hidden in our lowest moments. A proud heart remains closed. A humble heart stays open, ready to learn, ready to repent, ready to grow. This is why Hasidic stories are filled with simple, humble people whose sincerity brought down more divine light than many scholars. The spiritual significance of choosing humility in order to grow is profound for every soul. It creates inner space for truth. A prideful heart is full of itself. It cannot receive new wisdom or correction. Humility empties us so we can be filled with more, right? That's how we expand who we are in our vessels, right? By saying, okay, well, because if we tell ourselves, well, what I have right now is enough, then you're not leaving any room for the new to move in. It awakens authentic connection with the divine. When we humble ourselves, we step out of the illusion of being the center of the universe and into a relationship with the true center, God, and our place in the collective mission. It transforms failure into fertilizer. Humble people learn from mistakes instead of defending them. Every fall becomes a lesson rather than a threat to the ego. It builds deeper compassion in relationships. Humility softens us towards others, allowing real connection and the ability to truly see and uplift those around us. It invites divine assistance. The Torah and Chassidus repeatedly show that God runs toward the humble heart. When we lower ourselves willingly, heaven raises us up in ways we could never achieve alone. So, how do we live this principle in our everyday lives? Practice honest self reflection, right? Ask yourself, well, maybe I'm not the problem, but what if I was the problem? What could I do? How could I change my perspective, my actions, my character, right, in order to better this situation? And regularly ask yourself, where am I being defensive? Where do I need to learn and grow? Welcome feedback and correction. See criticism not as an attack on your worth, but as a potential divine guidance for your growth. Serve others quietly. Perform small acts of kindness without needing recognition. This trains the soul in humility. Remember your dependence. Begin each day acknowledging that your life, breath, and abilities are gifts. This simple practice keeps the heart soft. Celebrate others' success. Train yourself to rejoice when others grow or shine. This dissolves envy and expands the heart. Return again and again. When pride rises, gently bring yourself back. Not with shame, but with compassionate honesty. This is the ongoing work of spiritual growth. The spiritual path of humbling yourself in order to grow, rooted in Torah and radiant with Hasidic light, reveals one of life's most beautiful truths. The way up is often first down. The smaller we become in our own eyes, the larger the space we create for divine light, divine guidance, a better, clearer, more accurate perspective, wisdom, and transformation. This week, choose one area where pride may be blocking your growth. Take one humble step. Admit a mistake, ask for help, or listen more deeply. Watch how new light begins to enter. If this teaching touched your soul, share in the comments. In what area of your life are you being called to practice more humility so you can grow? What has humility taught you? So if you like this video, smash that like button, click subscribe, share with all your friends. May you walk the humble path with courage and joy. May your willingness to lower yourself open the gates to the highest growth and deepest closeness with the divine. But it's not just the divine, it's really with yourself, right? Because the more we let our need for taking up space, right, the more we let that go, the greater, the ability, the more space we make available for expansion in a good, positive way. So until next time, stay humble, keep growing, and let your life become a vessel filled with light. Okay, be blessed, be healthy, be safe. Okay, everyone have a great rest of your weekend, and check back tomorrow for another video. I appreciate you.